video is going to be about, I bought that Cloud Energy 300 amp hour 12 volt battery, and we only pulled 283 amp hours out of it. A brand new battery really should pull at or above capacity. So there's a couple reasons it could be causing that. One, possibility, and I don't know, I'm just asking questions. Did they use old cells, grade B, or worse, grade C? I don't think so, but I don't know. More than likely though, or did they use 280 amp hour cells and it pulled 283 and it did a great job, and they sold it as a 300. But reading some of the Amazon reviews, there's some people that had a lot worse, not a lot, but there's a couple of people that had a lot worse success with it. They pulled they can't get it to charge over 75%. So some of the comments were, it's very possible when they put the battery together, the cells were badly out of balance, and they didn't balance them. So what happens is when you charge a battery up, you go, in a 12 volt battery, typically have 4 cells. I don't know if they're 3.2 or 3.7 volts, but whatever it is, depending on the cell. As soon as the first cell hits the high voltage cutoff, it stops charging. So if the rest of the cells are low, you just don't get the capacity. So I noticed that this battery, it's a metal case, it's got screws holding it together. You can actually take it apart. So we're going to take it apart. Let's check. I'll show you. We'll go through it. Let's check each cell, see how closely balanced they are. I'll Google the results and see if it's acceptable. It's cheap enough. I went ahead and bought a cell balancer. I'm going to go ahead and install it on here. Maybe in this video, maybe in the next video, because it's still in order. And also, I have 5 other 100 amp hour batteries. 4 of them are sealed case. I'm not going to rip them apart to check them, because that whole pack has been pulling at above 500 amp hours. One of them though is a battery I bought that's not in a case. It's just 4 cells with a BMS strapped to it. And it's about 2 years old, and I had never checked it with the multimeter to see, even when I bought it, to see how balanced they were. So while we're at it, we'll check that one, and if it needs to be balanced when I get the balancer, we'll balance that one too. So let's find out why I pulled 283. Alright, let's go work on the batteries. So another thing I needed to do, I got to pull this battery out anyways, because I'm putting some 1-bys down, and I have, I don't know where they're at. Where are they? Right here. I have, these. I'm going to fasten the battery down so when the RV's moving, the battery's not going anywhere. So first, let's turn our charge rate. I've already turned the front solar panel system off. Let's lower our charge rate. Because I'm going to be going pass-through power. I'm going to jump over the other 4 batteries right there. Or actually, the other 5 batteries. I'm just disconnecting that one. But I don't want a lot of current going into it while I'm messing around with it. So let's try to rate. Let's lower that way down. We still need DC power in the RV. I'm switching over. Drop down from 50 amps down to, this is 1.5 amps, 5 amps. So either way, it's going to not be a lot of current. Alright, let me get in position. You listen real carefully. You hear the dog snoring up there. Alright, we're in the basement of the RV. We got a multimeter. First thing I want to do is let's check this back battery, which is the one that's not in the case, and see where she's looking like, because it's almost the oldest battery, and I never checked it. Kind of pain. Let's this up. Alrighty. So there's the battery. Now, these BMSs have passive balancers right here, but I don't know. I got one that's really out of balance. You have to have an active balancer, from what I understand. Alright, so let me put this on volts. This is a super expensive, high accurate calibrated meter that was probably bought at Walmart for $5. Okay. We'll just see. I got a better meter if I need to grab it. I'll try to set that up where we can see it. Let's let me adjust the camera. Figures. Alright, that's probably going to happen a couple times. This kind of helps make sure that it's calibrated. Alright. I'm about 2 feet too big around to be up in here. Alright, so pretty much zeros. Let me check the first one. And then you're going to just, I'm going to have to call it out. Across this one. And the first cell. 3.4 even. Second cell. Come on. Turn this. Okay. We're in Colorado and it's still kind of cold out. So these wires are a little extra stiff. Alright. Second cell. 3.39. The other one was 3.4. That's pretty close. Third cell. 3.39. And the last cell. 3.38. So I have to look that up. Now this doesn't go another decimal point, so anyway, so pretty much start out 3.4, 3.39, 3.39, 3.38. So I don't know, is that 2 millivolt difference or is that 20? I gotta figure it out. Anyways, that's the numbers on that one. Now we can look it up and see what it's supposed to be. And this. So there's that battery. And then there's these 4. See them back out. I can't get into those. Yeah, sorry. So there's basically those batteries. But this is the one that we pull 283 on. And it's got little Phillips screws. So I'm going to pull this, disconnect this battery, pull it out, and then we'll get outside where we can get to it. Take a look inside. Also, another thing I read on Amazon reviews is this Anderson 50 amp connector right here, which I'm not using. They're saying that some of the earlier batteries were wired that you can only pull 20 amps on. The wire's undersized. So I don't really care because I'm not going to use it, but still going to check it. get to disconnecting this. Alright, so a couple things. This switch, which turns on your volt indicator, and these plugs, I'm assuming, I don't know if it actually turns battery. I always just leave this off. But let me check to see if this is hot when that's on. 13.46. Yeah, so that stays hot. So it must just turn on this USB and 12-volt plug. All this is still charged. So to answer that question, how hard these are going to get out? Cool. So make sure I don't strip. Also see if we can identify what cells are using. I do like this case so you can service the battery if you ever wanted to change the BMS out or something. Plastic case, I couldn't do this without destroying the case, so. I figured I'll mount the active balancer either on top and run a wire in or mount it inside. See what happens. So let's take a look. It is a 100 amp as advertised. JBD. So I'll look that up. This is, I'm assuming it's going to be, let me get a light. I bet you that's 6-gauge wire. 6-gauge wire. And that's odd. So you got a 6-gauge wire right here. And then you have two, what are these? Two 7-gauge. Let me check everything, make sure it's tight. Haven't had any issues with the battery other than it just didn't quite pull capacity. Alright, so you can't make out, so if you see that Anderson connector down there, that's this wire over here. So let's get a peek at, I'll have to pull it up and read it out. It looks like this is, trying to get it out here where I can see it. Hard to read. Ten gauge maybe? They use weird sizes. It's like 7-gauge. I think this is 9. Let me get my phone and take a picture of it so I can zoom in. back down there where I found it. Alright, let's see what she says. 9 gauge. So I'll have to look at the capacity. I know 10 gauge is good for 30 amps. 9 gauge, I'm assuming would be good for a little bit more. 8 gauge is good for what, 40 amps. So 35 amps, and this is a 50 amp connector. So we know we're probably good for at least 30 amps on this connector. Oh, so let me check right here, make sure these are tight. Everything looks tight, looks put together well. It sucks that I'm going to have to disassemble this more to get to the cells and check them. I was hoping I'd be able to get right to the top of the cells. So what I'll do is I'll take this off and this, and hopefully just be able to lift this up and see the top of the cells right here. Alright, let's do that. A little bit of light in here. Tiny screws, and I'm going to drop one. I would like to see, well, I guess it's your job to put a fuse on that, or a fuse block on the outside. It would be nice if I had one inside. Alright, so these are mounted on the back. These screws. So far, the build quality to me looks pretty decent. Everything's been tight. Turn this around. Alright, so if I take these two out off, then I can pull this off. Let's take a picture before I get too far, just in case I have any questions later. B minus right there. B minus right here, both of these. They're in the same spot, so it shouldn't matter. Be right back. I'm gonna get some electrical tape. I do not want an issue. I was going to do this in the house, but if there's a major problem, I can at least pull this out of the RV from inside. That's not good. Do that loose. I don't want that loose. Exposed conductor here. Okay, so we can hook the balance leads. Try to unhook the balance leads. It might be glued on there too. There, came off. Right here. BMS just connected right here in this terminal. I'm going to take that off. There's not a nut on the bottom. There is. So it's going to be fun getting it back on. hoping it was a threaded hole. Okay. BMS is out. That over here. If I had a bigger BMS, I'd go ahead and put it in. Kind of stuck up on here. It's hitting here pretty good. Let's see. Well, you can get to the cells pretty easy. Don't want to break anything. I bet you they stuck this on here and then soldered this. Was that glued down or something? What is it? Come on. I could cut that right there. And then right there, and then just slide it out. I think I'm going to do that. Alrighty. I don't think anything bad could happen. You say void your warranty. Broke my scissors. Figures. There. And okay. That's right, I got more scissors. Okay, I had to go get these other scissors. I'm the kind of guy who gets a brand new truck and does a delete on it. Okay. Short these cells out. It's like fiberglass. Just don't want to cut any of these balance wires. There, right there too. Are you kidding me? Almost there. Main negative, main positive. I got metal scissors I'm jamming in. Look right here. Nope, not getting the wire. Holy cow. Come on. Damn. Okay. Okay. All the balance leads look still intact. Now here's the problem with putting an active balancer on here. There's no studs to hook them to. I could. That's weird. They got this hooked to this whole bar, this balance lead. Hooked to this whole bar instead of one to each cell. That's crazy. Here's the picture of the type of cell they're using. It does look like 112922, so they're pretty new. At least these stickers are. And then the barcode. I don't know if you can get a look at that or not. I'll take a picture of the barcode. I'll have to look it up because I don't know that much about them. Alright, but let me see if I can check the cells. Hooking a balancer, that's going to be a trick. Because I was thinking about piggybacking off of here for the active balancer. I think you have to have one on each battery. You can't just go to the negative on these four, and then the positive on these four, and then the positive on these four. It's all plastic, so. Alright. Might be a little easier to get this to set up now. Okay. First cell 3.35, 3.35, 3.36, 3.36, 3.35, 3.35, 3.36, and 3.36. Alright, let me take a picture of these barcodes. Right in here. I thought a QR code when you took a picture of it took you to a website. It's not doing it on these. Alright, well, I don't have the balancer and I want to hook this back up, so I'm going to go ahead and reassemble. Alright, so I just wanted to close out this video. In my truck, heading off. We got the battery reinstalled, as you've seen. Got it strapped down. It performs fine, and it actually is built pretty decent. They could have went a little heavier on some of the wiring, especially the Anderson 50 amp connector. You know, what I find, 9 gauge on there, so that's, you know, 35, maybe 40 amps on a 50 amp plug. So and also I don't remember seeing any kind of breaker or anything on that, so it's actually connected right to on the inside of the battery to the positive terminal, so I don't know that it won't see the full 100 amp BMS on that wire. So they should either put a breaker on there, or a DC breaker, or just a bigger wire at least. The battery metal box is built really well. I looked up the cells as much as I could. They're only like a year old, so they're not used cells. They're none of the name brand cells because the serial number didn't come up as like an Eve or Cattle or anything else that's even out of like 12 of them on the internet. So it's an off-brand cell, which is fine. I mean, you're buying a budget battery at, when I bought it on Amazon, I think it's just under $900. So I mean, if you want name brand cells, it's probably going to cost you $1,000, $1,200 for the equivalent. It's a pretty decent product. I think I'm going to be happy with it. I got the 283 amp hours out, and I just wanted to see if it was a balancing issue. So I did a little research, and although it's weird to me how they have the balancer hooked up, all the cells are pretty balanced. I mean, they're not out enough to affect the performance of the battery. So they did balance the cells. They're not that old. The actual construction of the metal box where they assembled it is only like 3 months old. I got it on Amazon, and you know it came from China, so that's actually not bad. It's a pretty fresh battery. You're just, you know, 283 amp hours. I could have ran her 100% flat below 10 volts. Been in the 290s. So I think I calculated right now, if you pull it down to 10.5 volts, it's 96% of capacity. You know, I could have squeaked that up some, but I didn't want to risk shortening the life of the battery at all. No reason to pull it down. So you're getting what you pay for. You know, 300 amp hour battery. They use the proper cells, it looks like. So it's a decent deal for the money. I'd like to see a price point on that, really. I think it would sell well at $850. And I think, you know, labeling it 300 is okay. It's fair. That's what the cells are, it appears. If they labeled it as a 280, it would outperform by 3 to 5 amp hours. You'd get a pretty good reputation. So, I didn't really want to intend on that to be a teardown video. I was really just want to check the balancing and see if it was something that I could like rebalance the cells and make it a little bit better. And I wanted to verify the gauge on the Anderson 50 because on some of the Amazon reviews there were people saying that it was undersized also. Alright, I'm going to end the video.